think I got the stream into the Facebook group finally. That's weird. I'll just see if anybody else comes in. I know it's a long weekend there this weekend, isn't it, David?
Pardon me?
It's a long weekend in the U.S. Is it
Yeah,
Memorial Day or?
Memorial Day
Yeah, okay.
weekend.
Yeah, so the fun thing was we were invited to do YouTube University in person in New York this weekend, like today. And then we were told like last week it was a long weekend. We were like, is that why we had no signups? Is because nobody was willing to tell me it was Memorial Day.
Mm, yeah.
But I can't profess that I'm a professional with booking in-person events or getting butts in seats. That's the dream go.
Mike,
That's the dream. That's the
I'm gonna
dream
say it's your
goal.
responsibility to look at a calendar and no holidays. Come on.
I was suggested a day and time that was open, and now I know I was open on the calendar.
Mike,
But
I get I get our problem. Our problem is being self-employed for pretty much your entire adult life and myself for most of my adult life. Holidays just kind of happen. You're like, oh, it's a holiday, right? You don't your life doesn't revolve around as
around
you barely
holiday.
even know what day of the week it is. You have to just make sure you know what day of the week it is.
Well,
Yeah.
I know when we pitched it to somebody in Las Vegas, and they said yes, and then they're like, "What week?" And I'm like, "Well, it's probably gonna be like, a couple, Monday, Tuesday, and Good Friday was on a Friday." They're like, "Oh no, you can't do anything the whole week before Easter." And I was like, "Okay, that's kind of okay, okay, whatever, whatever."
You don't know until they tell you, you know,
Well,
I
in
thought,
some
reality,
areas.
we don't run on vacations, right? And then fair enough, somebody's going to say it's not going to work because of vacation time. You know, I don't know. I'm like these holiday things are kind of inconvenience when you work for yourself. You're going to still show up, you're going to still be doing stuff, you're going to still work. It's very much an employee thing. And I'm not going to lie, when I was an employee, I thoroughly liked not working and getting my days off. So,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on um what you're involved in. Like I was involved in Sons of American Legion for many, many years. And every holiday come up, I was someplace, you know, just
well, yeah,
like
no, yeah, I get it, I get it. So, it's like. And I also understand. I, I had somebody call me this week, and he's like, "Hey, I want you in San Diego." And I was like, "Okay, I don't even know who this person is, like at all. Like the name wasn't even familiar." But he found my phone number and he called me. And I was like, "Okay," and it was just like inviting me to be on a stage in San Diego, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And he's like, well, do you know what pay to play is? And I'm like, of course I know what pay to play is. And I told him I wasn't interested in paying him to be on a stage. But he's like, well, I've heard all these great things about you, and you understand why it's pay to play because I literally have to run thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of ads to fill up the room. And I was like, I get it, but I'm not paying you to be on your stage because I've got my own stage. So, and you called me because you see me streaming 4 times a week. So you understand the principle of what I'm building and that you should pay me to be on your stage. It was pretty much how the conversation went. So it was a short conversation because I said no, but I was like, you reached out to me because you see me building my own stage and you want me to give this wisdom to people in person, but I'm not going to pay you I'm like, I have to travel there and pay to be. No, I'm not
Okay,
doing
I want to cut
that.
you off for a second. Are you going to give
Uh,
me access so I can share the screen? Because we don't have anything sharing.
oh, but I have a screen share. You do not see my screen share?
well,
No, it's black and it's showing up as black on YouTube as
Well,
well.
why is that? I
it went
shared.
off for some reason.
Oh,
It
maybe it
was
went
up.
off and I put my video on.
I don't know, it was there before, but I've been asking to share. Oh, there we go. You gave me access. Thank you. There. Now there's an image, right?
There you go. Now you got a different one.
I can't tell. Mine just says black now. Why is mine black? I should turn mine off.
Yeah, because Mike had the anniversary one on.
Well, I had that on, so maybe when I turned my video on, it went off. This is why we love Zoom so much, and we're okay to go into the future without it.
Congratulations on your anniversary. Made it the whole year.
Yeah, no, well, I was told that if we were gonna, I was told if you're gonna teach YouTube, do it, show up every single week, and that's what we do is we show up every single week and, answer questions as they come in, and I
Well,
had,
why don't you introduce the show? Because we need an intro. Open it up now that we're live and
well,
streaming.
welcome to week 52 of YouTube University. Ask Us Anything, where we hold space for you every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, to discuss on our end what could be trending at YouTube or new features at YouTube or things that we've witnessed, as well as converse. If you have a YouTube channel, what questions you may have about YouTube. I've got a couple people texting me this week about YouTube. I've had a couple TikTokers come and ask me how they get started with YouTube. So it's been an interesting week of new people coming in and asking us how they can get started with us coaching them and building their YouTube.
Well, and what is interesting is it's not just about YouTube, which you're going to learn about today. It is about being visible that we've been talking about for the last 50 weeks-ish, 52 weeks. But we've been definitely doubling down on the university, on being visible. And some of the people Mike has talked to, they're visible on certain platforms, but they're not visible on others. And I think, and it's becoming apparent that you want to be visible everywhere. Because this just comes back to the base of why we're doing this is you need to have your content show up on every platform at some level because we don't know, and you can't trust platforms. You don't know when a platform's gonna have an issue, is gonna have a glitch, is not gonna work for you, is gonna shadow ban you. You don't know what's gonna happen. So having your message, your content show up everywhere is the way you're going to be found. You want to be able to be so annoying that no matter what platform people go on, like, oh, there's Mike again. Oh, there's David again. Oh my gosh, he's everywhere, right? And that's our goal is to help you get seen. But today we're going to start as always with ask us anything. Does anybody have any questions? You can drop them in the chat. I am looking at the YouTube. So if there is anybody watching on YouTube, and you can drop a message in there on anything that you might have some questions on today. Is there anything you wanted to talk about first here, Mike? Anything that has come up recently?
Well, the conversation I've had a few about YouTube and TikTok this week. Most people want to, if they've been building their channels, let's say they've been building it directly off their phone and they're exhausted building um, TikTok and or YouTube content on their phone. And I was like, well, I understand everybody's got a phone. That's the easiest way to get started, but you're constantly running out of space and you want to add some broadcasting skills into it, like sharing screens or um, bringing up the chat or lower thirds or what. Like the person I was talking to yesterday is in Boston, is a referral from one of our friends in Boston, and she's like, I gotta. She's like, I. I I have all this stuff on TikTok. And I'm like, great. Have you ever thought of repurposing it somewhere else? She's like, oh, it's such a pain to manually upload videos everywhere. So I just chose TikTok, and TikTok's like, I'm getting 350,000 views per video, but it's not when it's of me, it's when I'm interviewing other people. And I'm like, great. So you got the starts of an interview show. And she's like, well, how do I get it to be more professional? And I'm like, well, we should introduce the concept of broadcast software. So like as you know, what we've been talking about for like 6 months, 5, 6 months now is Restream, where you can go live. You're using the computer. Restream is broadcast software, and then that way you can add in um, streaming to multiple channels at once. So for her, I said, hey, you wanted to do interviews, you want to do tours of your haunted house, you want to do all this cool stuff. Like you can live stream to TikTok. She's got tons of Instagram followers. I'm like, you can live stream to all the platforms at the same time, and we could build out this production checklist for you of course, we need you to get comfortable going from the phone from doing it with the phone to doing it with your laptop and maybe having one or two or three. She realistically said she wanted to do multiple camera angles. I'm like, we can teach you all this stuff remotely over Zoom. We can do it over a video call. We can step you through how to do it. And she's like, this sounds amazing. And I was like, well, you don't know what's possible until you have coaches who show you what's possible and then step you through learning each step of the way. Right. So I thought that was cool. I was like, I've never talked to anybody who's getting hundreds of thousands of views on every single TikTok they upload, but is not on Instagram and is also not on YouTube. So I'm like, hey, that's cool content.
Well, and if she's getting that, and that's she's getting that much that seen on TikTok, she's going to have success on other platforms. Actually, one of the ladies I've been following for a number of years, she actually lived in her vehicle for a long time. And then she's like now she lives in a van, and then she's had like a truck camper. So she's been pretty much kind of living our nomadic lifestyle for longer than we have. And she made a posting about getting comments about how people wish that they could just, be like her and not work, right? And she's like, people don't understand what it's like because she is one of the few that is going on every platform. She's like, I'm making 3 half-an-hour videos, which she edits as well. So she's not only she does her lifestyle, right? So you get the video clips of her traveling, where she goes with her dogs, etc., etc. So she is editing. She's not even doing live. She's doing three or no, two different half-an-hour shows. She edits, she posts, she's doing shorts, she's doing clips, and she's doing it onto all platforms. I don't know what her system is like. I have no idea, but she's like, it's a lot of work. People have no idea. She's like, I'm glad I make it look easy, but it is actually a lot of work. So we want to make it that it's as simple as possible to get your stuff everywhere, because she's success. She's like, I'm doing well on all these platforms, but that's how she does it. She has to show up on all the platforms. Her content's good. That's why it works, right? So it is this whole thing of I'd love to say everything is easy, but the reality is it's easy. But everything does take work. If you want things to pay off, you've got to double down and put the effort into it. Nothing is built, Rome. We go to the whole quote, Rome wasn't built in a day. This isn't, if you get a fantastic video and something that just takes off and goes viral, wonderful. But for the majority of us, that's not what's going to happen. Like this lady that I've been following for years, she's never had a viral video. She just shows up consistency and has built a really good foundation of people that will view her on all the different platforms. So if one of the platforms deplatformed her for some reason, you'd still be able to see her. And that was the conversation we had yesterday when we were walking about. There was a whole bunch of people that I was following that got censored early on in like 2019, 2020. They were taken off of YouTube, lost their channels. The ones that did have themselves showing up on some other platform are the ones I was still following. Other ones just kind of disappeared. And now a lot of them have gotten their platforms back, and they're so suddenly coming out. It's like, oh, where did you disappear to? But that's years I didn't see them because they were deplatformed, right? So it's just this interesting. We have to change the way we see things, in that we are changing from going going on to the astrology side. Taurus was about what brought us value, what we thought worth was like, and everything was very shiny, and it seemed more I guess more, not that's the word I'm looking for, quicker, right? Now we're in the time of communication where everything's kind of changing, and I feel like we're getting to this point where we want quality and not glitz, not immediacy. We want real. So it's good. We're going through this major changes. It's an appropriate time to be building something that's going to last. We talked about that we went through was it the new moon, Mike? The dark new moon? That was what it was?
It was the full moon, then the dark moon, and then yes.
I'm quizzing Mike to see how much he's learning from doing astrology. Uh,
You know what? It's tough because it's just another like learning how to run your own broadcast studio and show up and like you're just like I'm excited for this, but then how much is it expanding your mind and your vocabulary? And I see I'm reading the comments in the Zoom chat right now, and yeah, it's fun. Lucretia's got a question about
yeah,
multicam.
no,
So
and there's also a question from David, which we'll get to. But okay, but the point was, we are through this point where it is about planting the long-term seeds, the seeds that are going to build that. We're not growing sprouts. If you know anything about growing, sprouts come up in a few days, right? You can get some sprouts growing on your kitchen sink. Takes a few days, you got some sprouts to eat. We are not growing sprouts. We're growing trees. We're growing like the evergreens or whichever trees, you have to have the wildfires to start the seed, right? And then it takes off and years you're going to have this beautiful tree. That's how we want to think about it. So if you're showing up and you're consistent, this is going to make if that's what your goal is, right? You want to be seen, you want to get your message, your product, whatever it is you're doing, this is the perfect time. I was prepping for the weekly live tomorrow and all the themes. Our YouTube University, this visibility engine, hits every theme that Gemini is highlighting, which I thought was weird. I'm like, how are we literally hitting everything that Gemini brings up? It's communication, it's technology, it is connection with other people. How are you going to meet your people? We've gone online. The world feels maybe in our local community is a lot smaller than the world, right? So we're finding those connections. It's all the themes we've been covering, and this YouTube University visibility engine is so timed perfectly to cover all of those, which I found very, very interesting as a side note. But let's go over David's. I have to say what David posted, and I'm gonna make a little because it is kind of funny. He's like, "While using the restroom, can I see other comments on other platforms?" He meant Restream because he said that would be a different conversation if it was in the restaurant restroom. No, it was Restream. Mike, before I
Autocorrect.
answer, why don't you go over what you found with Restream and the comments, and then I can add to that.
That's a good question. I don't, do I know what comments are being passed into Restream from other platforms? I know for sure it's going to be Facebook and YouTube.
Yes, we have
I
we
don't
have
know if
seen
I've had live comments ever on any of the other platforms. So typically what I'm doing when I'm doing Restream is I am looking. I've got volume down on I got accessory devices here. So I don't have just one phone. I've got multiple phones. I got tablets. So what I'm typically doing is I got volume down. I'm literally looking at it may not be the most efficient way. It's just whatever I figured out so far because I'm not even looking at the Zoom comments right now. Um, I'm t whatever I go live, I'm always looking at the live stream. I'm being my own production manager right now, and I'm checking out LinkedIn. I'm checking out all the platforms I'm going live on. I'm checking actually from my phone just to make sure that the video shows up. Um, it's in sync if there's comments in there. So I typically yeah, I'm touching all bases. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to the audience, reminding them to add comments, and then add chat, and then I'm going to visually see what shows up in Restream. If you're doing it from Zoom, it's challenged because gonna have the Zoom chat and then the Restream chat, and then I'm also checking the other platforms on my phone. So it's really handy to have a second person helping you out with this stuff because um, if you're tech savvy, you may be able to figure it out. If you're
And you
not
can
tech,
definitely do this all by yourself. However, even with myself and adding you into my show, it does make it easier to have a second person who's confirming, are you live on the other platforms? We're even restreaming, like I like to restream to Rumble. I'm getting a decent amount of views on Rumble. Actually, I'm surpassing some of my videos. I'm getting more views on Rumble than I am on YouTube. Can I see other comments on other platforms? He meant restream. Oh, because he said that would be a restream to Why do I hear myself? Was that you, Mike?
nah,
Okay, well,
not
that's
me,
okay. I
so
was
I don't
like,
know what you're
who's
talking about.
talking over me? I'm so offended by myself talking over me. Um, anyways, the with the chats, like we can definitely see anything on YouTube with Restream. You will see things if they show up on Facebook. It usually shows like where you when I post a comment or Mike posts a comment on Restream, it'll tell you where it's posting it to. But some of the ways you do the back end with Restream, like with Rumble, if somebody comments on Rumble, unless I'm on that platform, I'm not going to see the comments because it doesn't feed back to Restream. So there is some of them where you might not be able to see in real time. And again, depending on how many screens you can have open, right? Because if you're going to share screens while you're doing your live, and then you've got all these, ideally, we probably need like 4 different monitors. That's probably going to be a setup that does at some point have to come into play.
That
But
that
we
that's a pain point we are Julie brought up. That's the pain point we're currently
Yes.
at right now is that we're like it's 100% possible to do all this stuff. Like we were both on 13-inch MacBook Pros, so um, this is all possible from a laptop. However, once you are confident with streaming and you're showing up all the time. I've noted, if you've got 2 or 3 monitors set up and you can have the other, this is why I'm using phones on the side, right? But also with the phone, I can have the audio turned off so that way when I'm watching myself currently on LinkedIn on this phone, the audio is not going to come through and screw up my primary audio on the streaming box. So, but yeah,
Well,
no, we're
and in fairness, to kind of summarize that up, we're always looking for the easiest workarounds, and then we build from there. So, and we've been working, and fair enough, like we're working on our content all the time. We're working on our presentation. We're working on getting more engagement. And the comments is one of the things that we don't necessarily get a lot of engagement in. And that is something that we're actively working on getting more comments, more feedback, more participation from the audience. Because the majority of our audience is very hidden and they're like watching back and are like, no, we're watching, but we don't want to comment,
well,
right?
and Julie made the comment about her Rumble being popular, or at least, we see numbers coming in from Rumble, but of course with when we stream to Rumble, you have to go. This is not being this stream's not being streamed to Rumble because I don't have a Rumble account. Julie had a Rumble account, so for her stuff it was hers. But with Rumble, you have to have its own broadcast window up in a browser for Rumble to catch the feed. So each platform has a different way you can stream to Rumble from Restream, but in order to stream to Rumble from Restream, you have to have Rumble's own broadcast studio up but she has an audience there and she sees her views going up. It's like when I stream this to LinkedIn and I get like 8,800, 125 impressions every time and we're streaming all 4 of our shows. We have 4 shows right now. We're streaming them all to LinkedIn, and I've had a ton like my LinkedIn went from like being dead to people reaching out all the time. So I'm like, hey, I'm activating a hidden audience over at LinkedIn. I'm getting a ton of meeting requests, and it's just interesting because each of your audiences is going to interact with you differently, but we want that engagement, and
Well, and the first
it may not be comments right away, Dave. So
Exactly, exactly. It may not be comments. The idea is just making sure you're showing up, and then you're going to start to see that even after the fact. So maybe you do miss a social media when you're going up live, right? So like Rumble or even Substack that I'll stream to won't feed back to Restream. So if I want to go see anything that anybody commented, I'm going to go after the fact to those platforms and then I can see them, right? And then if you do find as you're adapting and as you're going through that you really like a platform, it might be worth having that open on another screen or having it on your phone. So that again, how this works for each person and where you're finding you're getting the most connection, the most interaction and stuff is going to be different because you're going to find out where people are actually watching you from. And again, there might be a lot of people that are just passively watching you. We're finding out how much we really have a huge secret audience, like an unspoken audience. And it's really like that is something nobody teaches you that. Nobody really talks about, especially the creators, because majority of times people are creators because they want to be influencers, right? I want to have something go viral. I want to be seen. Great, great. but then their motivation gets like they're only looking for like certain feedback, or you're only looking for certain, like I get a million views or whatever. Well, that's going to demotivate you from showing up if you don't get that type of feedback. And the idea is like you have to look that there's other ways you're getting feedback, and there's other ways that this is actually mattering. Like just building up. Oh, slowly you're getting more subs over here. You're getting more views over here. Your message is reaching further, whether you're necessarily getting all those comments back or not. We have to change the way we see it. We have to see it in that perspective that you're putting out your signal and you want as many people to see it. And those that resonate are going to start to show up more and more. And as they show up more and more and get comfortable with seeing you come live, that's when I think they're going to get more comfortable of commenting or
Yeah.
joining or making sure they're showing up when you go live, because they're trusting you because you're consistent. That's a huge one, because we're in a very trustless society. So when you start showing up on a regular basis, you're building a new form of trust, because then that person that's watching you, oh, they're showed up again. Oh, they said they were coming on again and they came up again. Oh, they're here again, right? So it's that kind of idea. Does that make sense? Am I kind of a clear, am I
Yeah, yeah.
explaining that
Hold
correctly?
on, because you're going like I get all that in that when I had my restream on, I wasn't seeing any of it. So it sounds like from what I heard you guys is I need to have other screens open as well in those other programs because I was hoping that I'd see all the restream and I can handle that. I was able, I was managing it myself. So and when I got off, I'm seeing all these comments. Then I wanted to sort of either hit a like so that way I acknowledge a comment or respond to it. What I would have preferred to try to do it a little bit in real time. Like if you go on a live, you see the comments. If you just go on one platform at a live, whereas when you're doing it the multiple ways, I was hoping that like Restream would, part of the restreaming would capture all the comments, even if it told me which platform I had. But that's probably,
The
you know,
chat in Restream will show you there's a button on the right hand side when you're on Restream, and it will say chat, and it will indicate if it's like we're only streaming to I don't what we're saying is if it's a chat comment from Facebook, it'll show up that it's from Facebook, and if it's from YouTube, it'll say that it's from Facebook. I
it
don't
didn't. That's what I, that, that's what I'm saying is when I got off my restream, I'm gonna play around with it more, right? So I haven't had a lot of.
well, I know it's because when we do our streams like we will type in the chat ourselves and we can highlight like if somebody's chatting with us on YouTube or Facebook, we can see it in the chat window and we can actually click on show and it will bring it up on the lower third.
Yes.
Okay.
So we
I just
can,
don't know which all I just don't since I'm in like 5 6 months of using Rest 5 months of using Restream, I don't have a good answer of what of all the social media which social media platforms feed have a
So
two-way with
I'm
Restream.
I'm feeding into LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think LinkedIn comments come through to Restream, but
Okay.
I know that Facebook and YouTube for
I,
100%
I
do.
didn't see. I mean, most of the comments that I had received were through Facebook, and that was where that's where I
Yeah,
spend
well,
most.
those should be real-time comments in Restream.
Yeah,
If they're after the fact, then you're just gonna have to go in,
I'll have to look at it
do the
again.
maintenance with those comments after the live stream. But they
Yep.
should be. But we also
well,
need
and then
to.
the should be, again, they should be, right? It looks like it should, and the reality is we will get comments back, but does it work always consistently? We can't guarantee
Yeah,
that,
right,
right?
right. No, no, I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you guys to do anything. I'm just
No, no,
again
no.
learning.
It
Like
should
there's no
work that
guarantees,
way.
right?
Like
I didn't
David,
see
you could get
any.
those comments.
Yeah, when I did that, my Phoenix day, I got off and I was like, oh man, nobody really was paying attention. I thought I'd see more comments, and I kept on paying
But you
attention.
were, but we also you did your Phoenix Day on Zoom, and Zoom pass over to Restream. So if I look at my Restream, that's the only thing I don't. Let me see.
So
Yeah,
so
because
so
it
maybe
does.
that's
I do
what it is.
find the Zoom to restream is just an extra complication that
Mhm.
just
It's
makes
ri-
it.
it's literally on the right hand side. So you would have had to been
Yeah,
you would have had to been so that's the only issue. Zoom to Restream is that you're going to be running your Phoenix, like when you're in Zoom, you've got the Zoom window, Restream's off to the side, and the chat would be in the Restream window. So that's in that situation, that's why you would want to have your Zoom window on one monitor and then Restream on a second monitor
that's
because
what I
there
did.
is I'm looking at it right now. There is a chat button on the right
Yeah,
hand side of
yeah.
Restream, which is right now showing me I gotta I gotta I got one chat message from YouTube right now. And
That's
it's not
interesting.
me or Julie. It's one brand new one, so I'm gonna go
Yes,
comment.
and I had made a comment on there as well that good morning, and you don't see it, hey, on the YouTube
I
because
do
I
see
did
it.
it.
I see it. I see it in Restream.
Okay, and then
It's
did you
not.
see the one person that wasn't me? Because
Yeah.
okay, well then you've seen the two comments that are showing up on YouTube.
Yeah, they're like on the right hand side. So and what I also was gonna mention is that because Restream is broadcast software and because there's a lot of functionality to it, there's it takes a while. Of course, David, if you're just doing a live stream on your phone or whatever and only on one platform, you're used to that. You're used to that layout. You're like, okay, here's my video and here's the chat. And then
Right.
when we're using this broadcast software Restream, it's like if you're doing it right from Restream, the layout looks one way. And then if you're connecting something like Zoom, the layout is different, and I can understand it can be confusing because we started using it in January. It's May. I'm still not perfect with it, and that's why we're streaming 4 different shows per week because I was like, hey, this show went smooth and well. And Julie's like, oh, we forgot to do this. And it's like, no, I did that in the back. And she's like, well, it didn't show up. And it's like, okay, learning every single day.
Well, just like you're saying, the whole setup, and I'm not gonna lie, it makes me rage because I do not like that when you link Zoom to Restream is a completely different layout than all the others. So because I don't use Zoom, so I find that setup so much easier than when we're doing it this way, going through Zoom
You
through
know,
Restream.
we
So
wouldn't
I
have
find
it,
Zoom is almost like a handicap. That would be my thing. I'm not pro Zoom for live streaming. I am not. I think it adds like unless you're gonna have
no,
10
you know
plus
what?
more than 10 people on your live and you need Zoom, then you can justify it. The rest of the time, I am not a fan of Zoom. Zoom used to like back in the day, you could stream to different platforms from Zoom. They reduced it, they removed it. I don't know if there's a
Zoom handicapped itself in order for for these broadcast softwares to get popular, realistically.
yes. Because it did work really great. Because I do remember a time where I was able to stream live from Zoom to Facebook or YouTube.
Mhm.
Then they kind of
No,
they
no, you
messed
can
it
do
up.
that, but with Zoom, you can only do one platform, and that's why
Exactly.
we introduced Restream because I'm like, hey, you can, there's a benefit if you're going to have a Zoom room to be able to broadcast it to all these different places at once. There's a huge benefit to that. However, it's technical and um, obviously feedback from David is comment which platforms are giving us two-way chat. Well, we know for sure my audience is small. I can't live stream to Instagram, so I can't test that out. TikTok, we are broadcasting to TikTok, but I've never seen anybody comment on our TikTok channel. We'll get views, we get followers. I've never seen any comments come through. So I
Yeah.
don't even know if that platform does it. I need more students to set up their streaming to
Yes, yes,
learn.
to test out, especially people that have different audiences on different platforms, because that gives more feedback, right? And obviously, when we're talking, people are too busy listening to us. So we'll take it as that they're busy listening to us. That's why they're not commenting. But so with it, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Zoom using it this way. This is not my preferred method, and that's just for myself. And that's when we go to the visibility engine, it's helping each person individually use the tools that are going to fit them. So for some people, like this, having Zoom is going to be their preferred way, and it's going to work for what they're doing. Great. We know how to use it. Not my preferred way of doing it, but it's a preferred way for this user. We're going to help them set it up that way so they can have the most success. But that is true when you're using the extra level of Zoom and then trying to see the chats, you almost do need a secondary monitor so you can see the chats come back, because they do feedback from the YouTube and from Facebook. I have seen that they will come back into Restream. Again, like we said, our audiences are smaller in some of those other areas, so we don't necessarily see much on
And
that.
there's actually a whole section on Restream. I'm looking at her. I'm actually taking photos of it so I can text them to David. There's like a whole settings for your chat. So
Okay, so maybe, yeah,
apparently
yeah, and
there's a
that's why
lot
I'm
of
asking the
there's a lot of
question.
stuff with chat that we don't even use because I
Well,
don't
and who knows if it's new, because as we've also said, is everything we are going through a time where literally one way of doing something on Monday can be completely different by like Friday, right? So then there's been an update, there's been a
actually, you
feature
know what?
change.
There's a whole breakdown of the read, reply, and relay, and I'm taking a photo of it right now. So YouTube, 100%, you can read and reply the comments. Twitch, 100%. Discord, 100%. Rumble says yes. And then
But we've had
Space,
issues with Rumble because we do it a back end, right?
yeah, so it's I just took a picture of the what chat comes through on Restream. I'll send that to you, David, just so you can plan
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out.
yeah, sure. No,
Plan that out. Good question though, because we don't get a lot of chat, so I don't worry about it too much. But it's a very good question
No.
because I
But
didn't
I
have a
do
good answer
like
for
the
that.
chat on Restream because I can highlight the things we're talking about and have them show up on the screen. So there's pros and cons again for each person and what you want to use it for. Will help you with that. Now, I know Lucretia has a question about the multi videos where she would not need a second person, so she'd potentially make more content. What is your comment on that, Mike?
Um, well, typically, with multicam, are you just thinking about having different cameras plugged? S- what camera are you using right now? Are you using a built-in webcam? Are you using a USB webcam, or is it a DSLR plugged into the computer?
So I have an iPhone 8, I have an iPhone 12, and then I have I think it's a DSLR.
Okay,
It's like
so
a
you get like a
yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay. So which one are you? Because which one are you primarily using when you're test streaming?
Uh it would be the DSLR.
Okay. So are you looking at adding the iPhones in then or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. You can invite your you can you can join like you could invite yourself in Restream. There's a little link at the bottom where you can invite yourself and then you'd be able to load um you'd still have to use the computer for switching the camera feed, but you could invite yourself. You could send yourself an invite. You end up getting a little UR. You end up getting a URL. You could invite yourself and show up on your iPhone because Restream supports mobile devices. Think it's as long as your iPhone's got Safari. I don't think it supports. Anyway, so you'd be able to. Um, invite yourself and load and use your phone and then on Restream at the bottom of Restream when you're streaming there's a bunch of screen layouts so you could use your computer and then just switch pretty much switch the feed so you could switch it from the
Exactly. Well,
DS
and yes, and you can like turn off like when I invite Mike
Ju-
in to the
just because the
Restream.
iPhone's not plugging into the computer via USB, so that's one method to invite the phone in.
Yes, yes.
I
Because
know when I
I
know when
want
I
to, sorry, Mike, can I add
okay.
I just want to add a comment before you go back down that hole. Um, because when you do have restream and you can pick the different views, you can also, like when you invite your other devices in, you can hide them so they don't even visually show up. So you could then play around with it that this camera shows up, then there's a sidebar, and then you could close it and then have it show up on a different camera. So you could definitely manage it. It's actually very doable and actually quite simple if you're using the Restream software to do that, because you could really invite multiple devices in. So if you had like, you could really have like 4 or 5 different devices, and then you could close that one and you would see it, and it's just kind of like faded in black and white, and then when you turn it back on, it would come into view, right? So you could definitely do that. And that's something we would walk you through and help you test out and make sure you had running as well.
That's how you add like mobile devices in. You would have to send them a link and then they can just join, as long as they can join. You can manage it all from the Restream interface and hide your view. If it's a mix of USB cameras or DSLRs, there's switching boxes for those, because of course an iPhone's a different device, so you would invite that device in. If it's a um USB camera or a DSLR that's over HDMI, there's switching boxes that people have. That like all your cameras plug into a switching box. You plug that switching box into into the laptop, and then you're able to. That's what they do in big studios. They might have 5 or 6 cameras up, and all they're really doing is clicking a button, and the switching box is switching the feed, the whatever video feed it is. So I know. One of our friends in Florida, he's got a studio in his house. And he's like, hey, look how fancy this is. I got 4 or 5 4 or 5 cameras. And it's just like on a 20-second timer. So every 20 seconds, the camera angle's different. And I'm like, you're still not live streaming. You got all this fancy studio set up and you're not live streaming. And he's like, we're going to get to that part, but I wanted everything to be high tech. And I was like,
Can I make one comment on that? My
you're
only
not live
comment,
streaming.
it is great to have the best technology, wonderful, but when you're not using it and you paid for it, there's a problem, right? Like we need to get past this, because we've now met a few people that were paying for software to live stream that they never actually used. They paid for it for years and never actually used it. And it's like, so I get it. Like we're at this time where there's a lot of people that have made steps towards doing it but never fully committed. So you've spent money, whether you bought a whole bunch of cameras, bought a bunch of fancy software, but you haven't committed to getting that next step. That's the hurdle we want to help people get over. It's like you can spend all this money, but if you're not creating anything, it's kind of, you just wasted money, right? Like, oh, it's great to have all these setups, but if you're not making anything and not mastering the process of how to do your lives, how to use your cameras, how to use the software that you've paid for, no one's seeing you. You're not building your brand, your business, your name, whatever it is you're building. You're you're not going forward. You're kind of stuck in this you're taking steps, but you're not actually taking the real steps. Because buying stuff, great, you actually have to use it. And so that is an interesting psychological hurdle that I have seen now multiple times. Would you agree, Mike?
Oh yeah, like it's going to yeah, that's what happened. Like people, I'm chatting with people like every single day. They're like, "Oh, I have StreamYard." I'm like, "I've never seen you go live." Well, because I don't know how to use it. It's like either like hire us to help you at least start using it. I'm like, StreamYard's fine. Restream's fine. We just picked Restream because I found that we could do both vertical and horizontal live streams to YouTube at the same time. Realistically, I picked it because Julie wanted to go. She was already doing lives from her phone. And she's like, I need a better solution. I'm like, here's a better solution, test it out. It is like, wow, this is the powerhouse of being able to schedule your stuff, and then the thumbnails and the when you schedule and restream, the events show up on YouTube and Facebook as scheduled events. And I'm like, we picked it to do one thing and found there's this powerhouse of tools in Restream that I didn't find in the other softwares that we were looking at. And I was like, It's cool, but there's a lot of features, and the only way you can actually test out and get comfortable with the features is by doing it multiple times per week. And that's
And well,
why.
and then you might also find out that some of the software or some of the things like using Zoom may not be your big thing. You may decide you don't need it, or you might decide you want all those cameras, or you might decide that this tool doesn't work quite as well. Because there's so many different tools. We just really want to help you get the right ones in place to help you start developing and working. Because there's always times where we might adjust and change things because it doesn't work with your flow anymore, right? Or it's just not conducive to how you want to create your content. And so that's why we don't have a one size fits all when we're helping people. We're going to look at each person individually and what they want to create and assist them with that, which I think is a perfect time to kind of go up to where we're going with YouTube University, unless you have anything else to say on that, Mike.
No, no, I think we got a good answer for Chimetsky because I didn't know
Yeah.
about the all the settings for the chat. I just took photos of that. Lucretia multicam. It's yeah, you can do it. You can bring your phones in. And the cool thing with Restream, why I love it so much, is that you can do all this in the privacy. You don't literally when you go into Restream, the top option, you get three options. You can um go live or record in studio. So if you that top op when you're in Restream and you go to click on a new stream, you don't have to go live. You can literally go into the broadcast studio and play with it. Like you don't even have to record it. You can just literally go into the back, invite your devices in, have them show up and just sit there and play with it and understand where all the buttons are and the layout is and just practice, you don't
Yeah,
have to
and
record.
and again, if that's something that you want more walkthrough, that's what we do, right? So you are definitely empowered to go and try this out yourself. We recommend it because we've had success and find it the best now. Does that mean a year from now we're going to be still using Restream? Who knows? Because there
Well,
could be another software that comes that we're just like, wow, this works better, right?
well,
But it's all about
I was gonna say, even like people, we've had a couple student, David's, he connected Zoom to Restream. Our other client, David Vrab, like he did the same thing. We've got a new student, Tish. She's doing the same thing. I'm like, you can fire up your Zoom. You don't need to have anybody in Zoom. You can then connect it to Restream. You don't have to go. You can practice with Restream. You don't have to. You
Right.
have the full power yourself if you want to have them go live. It's just a matter of getting in there and playing and knowing the layout because going live takes a lot of energy. Interacting with if you've got a podcast interview or anybody else comes in, that's a full workload right there is managing your guests and talking to them on top of learning the layout and where all the buttons are because um
well, I'm going to say it's not only playing around with it, it's showing up on a regular basis because the more you show up and then the more you're like, oh, I want to use this feature. Oh, how does this feature work? Right. Then it starts to give you, I actually think the more I do use Restream, the more ideas I get for my actual shows on things or tools that I didn't even know actually existed. And then I'm like, wow, this is actually a really nice feature. So that's really what we're looking at. And you're
Okay.
doing it, you schedule it before using Restream. Yeah, workshop on YouTube next week. I've scheduled it and I'll be using Restream. Perfect. Exactly. And then once you've got that schedule and it's linked back to YouTube, it'll show up. So if you go to your YouTube channel and click that little live button, it should show the little live, right? And that's how you know it's scheduled and people are being notified. But as we continue on, so we're at 52 weeks. Yay, we've showed up for 52 weeks at 9 a.m. Eastern. And it is time to look at what's worked and what's not. We are still about YouTube University. Like this is still the basis of it. We still want your content on YouTube as your evergreen. But really, we have been promoting visibility. So it's really Visibility University. Any comments on that, Mike?
um no, because we want to help you build up your confidence on camera, build up your frequency of how often you're showing up for your audience, because it could be you're like, hey, once a week's great, and then you're like, oh wait, I should realistically should be doing it every single day, right? And we started with YouTube as a platform just because we know it ranks best with Google. But realistically, you have all these audiences on all these platforms that you may have started at one time in the past. You've got all these you know, social media accounts out there that you're not leveraging. And I'm like, you could the same amount of time and energy with random posts or like going live on YouTube, just reactivate all those audiences. That's why we've
Well, we're
added
not gonna lie. We did this because we want to save time. We want to make the biggest bang
100%.
for our buck. Because the reality is, we've wasted so much time doing things inefficiently.
Oh, and money, and
Oh,
money,
money
and
and
money.
time. And we've learned this and we're still learning. We're still learning the best processes, what we like better, but we want to help other people get over the hurdles that we've had. So we're leveling it up. We're not going anywhere. This is going to continue. We're going to continue showing up every week like we've been doing, but it's changing a bit because now we've done it for for a full year for 52 weeks. So where it starts, we now have multiple levels. So Visibility University, which is a Saturday show. It's always going to be here. We're going to keep showing up every week and we want you to come in. So why don't you talk about this, Mike?
Okay. Um, Tier one, every single Saturday, 9 a.m. Weekly. I didn't even talk about the stuff. I want to talk about the cool new feature of the YouTube Create app, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yes.
Just because I would just want to remind you all that YouTube is starving for content, literally starving for content. They're adding so many new features to Shorts that there's no reason why you shouldn't be adding shorts onto your YouTube content if you're not ready for full-blown live streams like what we're doing. So,
Like, let's just take it back. There's no
uh,
reason you're not showing up on YouTube. Like, why are you not showing up on YouTube?
so,
Why? Why are you not showing up? Okay,
so
anyways.
Saturdays we're gonna answer all your questions in the chat. Bring us your questions. Bring us what your challenges are. We're gonna answer those live for you. We've got want to talk strategy? We've got strategy for you. We'll talk about strategy.
We'll bring up
We'll
our examples. We'll bring up what we found. We'll talk about, like we've been doing these last number of weeks, where we highlight some information we've come across to help you be more successful.
You may see us with different shows every single week because we're like, hey, we want to show on this topic and we want to show on this topic. And it's just us showing up with different types of as we've said for the last year. If your content doesn't seem to be hitting, change the format a little bit. You can keep your existing show, add another one, and just change it because we've changed times. We've changed some of our shows based on audience feedback.
Well, and that is true. Like, I've actually found out who watches, because they've it's funny because I've never actually asked for
People call
feedback.
us.
I want stranger feedback, not friend feedback. But my friends and my mom, my friends they're like, well, I missed your tarot card, so that I re-added that in. Then my friend has actually given me two different suggestions. He's called me now multiple weeks in a row, and this last one, he's like, when I'm watching the daily stuff, I love it, but then I have to pause it and I just need a link that's just like Wednesday. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like thinking, and I'm like, okay, so I need to make more images so I can put in more chapters. So when my friend stops watching it, he can go to the description and be like, okay, she's talking about Wednesday here, and select that, right? So we're taking what people are saying and then adjusting it, right? So
Well,
that
even
is
even time of show because we got
that was the feedback we got too, right? Was another friend wanted to watch it. It's like, well, when you go live, I'm not around. I can't do that. You need to do it in the evenings. So we adjust that, right? So we're always looking at how can we make our content get the greatest impact. And again, one process might work for a long time and then something changes and you just have to adapt. That is actually the reality we're in. But with the first tier, we're always going to show up. You can come in the chat, let us know what you have questions about. We'll teach you something to assist you for the week, to help get you motivated, be your little cheerleaders. That will not go away. It's just going to adjust through this. Any other comments before we go to the next one, Mike?
No, go ahead.
Okay, let me get
I was
to it.
I was also gonna say that the reason we chose Restream is that if you can schedule stuff. So you can record your shows in the back end of Restream, especially if you got a busy schedule or whatever's going on. You can always like this, we're doing it live, but this show we could choose to just record it in the back. Of course, we wouldn't have live chat. That's the only kicker of
Well,
do
you do get live chat, but and then you would have to actually be
no, I
watching it live to then interact with the chat. So that's
well
another
no
way you could go
No, I'm
about it.
just saying, if you need to batch record your stuff because you got travel or other stuff coming up, you can always record your shows in the back in Restream, record them, and then schedule them to go live later. So
Yes.
lots of ways for you to get rid of your excuses and actually record your content and go live.
Like,
So
well, I think that's what we do. We intimidate people because we literally make it that you can't have an excuse. Because we have gone through this so much. We found so like time, money, effort. We have found all the excuses and solutions to our own excuses. Okay, so if you want anybody, we've already found our own excuses to why we can't not do stuff, right? So in the second tier, so we still are going to show up every Saturday. We're going to be here, ask us anything, teach you a little bit of something. When we get to the second tier, this is our momentum club. So this is our first part of where you're going to get a little bit extra. So you're going to get everything live. You get to join us live. So you're going to get a link. You can show up on camera. You'll get direct access to us for first dibs on questions. We are going to also be doing a members only monthly live. So this will be something that won't be public. You'll get to be part of, which is going to be part of everybody that's signed up for any of our tiers, minus the first one. You will get to join us directly. The replay library for that's all going to be unlisted and you will get access to those private streams. Community accountability, we're going to have our private Discord access. So you can go in there, ask us anything. This will be a community accountability private group. And then of course, any support, you can always reach out to us. I'm sending it to you, Mike.
just everybody's asking for support, so now there's going to be um price for the support because I have a lot of conversations with people. I'm like, hey, I'm giving all my good ideas away. So come join us and get more, you know, private Zoom call, just whatever technical question. If you're not ready for the tier 3, tier 4, get started with this tier because we will the dogs are now barking, so that's fun. Anyway.
Well, so the idea is this is the first step. You're ready to get consistency and accountability. We're going to help you be accountable and consistent, and you're going to get some interaction with us, and we can answer your questions that are, like first dibs on getting those answered. You go into the private Discord. We're going to respond to you quickly.
We'll put it this way. I've had a lot of people say I need training in. I'm not ready for like full-blown production mode, the $1,400 price, but I don't know how to use Restream on my computer. I need help with lighting, like just basic questions. And I'm like, okay, let's get on a call, step you through it, and this is gonna
Well,
be
that's tier 3, Mike. You're jumping ahead. Tier
well,
2,
then you need to just
we're gonna communicate with you. You can reach out by support through email and the private Discord, as well as being the member only private. So that is $44 a month is the discounted rate. That will go up to 66 when we start we're actually starting year 2 next week, but we're going for June 1st will be any of these discounts will go till June 1st, and then it's going to go to the regular price at that point. Now, the next tier, which is also new here, is where when you need that little bit, you're not ready to do the full 8 weeks, but you need a little bit more hand holding. You want us to demonstrate for you. You need some monthly support. This is your best option. Tier 3, the visibility engine support. So you're going to get all of that, the private Discord, the private members, monthly meeting. You'll get the links to that. You'll have the Discord. I think I already mentioned that. So you get everything included with it. Plus you get one-on-one support. So you'll get at least one personalized one-on-one support meeting each month. being part of this. We'll have weekly office hours that you can just jump in. So we go live and you can just come in and talk to us if you're having any concerns during it. We will also help you a little bit more in giving you feedback on your channel. So we'll go to your channel, we'll look at your thumbnail, your titles, your live streams, and we will give you a little bit of feedback on it. And we are on call for troubleshooting support. So if you sign up for this, we will come as long as you let us know when you're live. We will be there in the back end and will help you if you need some help during your live. Anything I missed on that, Mike?
No.
So that is the one where if you're not ready, you're motivated, you don't need the holding the hands so much, you're motivated, but you do need some questions or you're going to have some tech issues or any of that, this is your best option. And again, until June 1st, it's at a discounted rate of $147 a month. You lock it in, you're going to get that support, that tech support, the help while you're live streaming, because even as we master this, there's always little glitches. So we want to help you, and this is the way we can help you without holding your hand for and contacting you every day. But of course, if you need that little bit of holding the hand, I can say that, holding hands, we of course have our visibility engine sprint. This brand new round starts June 1st. So this is the new 8 weeks, goes forward on June 1st. So everything from before, plus we are holding your hand. So we're going to meet with you at least twice a week, weekly accountability. We are going to help you even more on live stream. So we're not just we'll stay there longer than just like the beginning to make sure you don't have any issues. You're going to get direct access. Well, we will guarantee we'll respond to you within a couple of hours. Obviously, sometimes we're going to respond to you as quick as possible, and make sure that you have your 30 pieces of content ready to go by the end of at 8 weeks, if not more. We really want you to have more and want a good process. You're going to have a process ready to go to continue going forward after that. Is there anything else that I'm missing on the visibility engine, Mike?
I don't believe so. We don't have, the goal is to have 30 videos on your YouTube channel and stuff, actual progress done. Because it takes a while to get, re broadcast software. This restream software is powerful. However, it's still software. It's still being confident with your on camera skills and clicking on stuff, and making you feel reassured that you're going to be successful with it and comfortable with the layout. Because I can see some students are turbocharged and they're quick learners and they're able to figure it out, and others struggle. But I'm like, hey, you're doing it, you're showing up, you're pre-scheduling your shows, and I'm
Well,
there to just,
we're just holding their hand a little bit more, right? So we really
yeah.
have the 4 options. Where start here, you join us every week here live on YouTube, uh, Facebook. Where are we going, Mike? Are you on Instagram, LinkedIn? Where are you showing up?
Where am I showing up?
Are you even paying attention?
I am. My computer went weird and I'm hosting the Zoom call.
The visibility, where we're live right now. Where are we live streaming to right now?
From with this Zoom call, it is to at least 2 YouTube channels, Facebook, LinkedIn. I can't live stream to Instagram. I'm not popular enough to live stream to Instagram. You need 1,000 subs, and that's why I was so excited. I spoke to that person yesterday who's huge on TikTok, and she says she's got thousands and thousands of Instagram. So I'm like, yes, I can now test live streaming to Instagram from broadcast software.
So anyway, so you got your first level visibility. So come and join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Put your questions in the chat on IamYouTubeFamous.com, or the other we are streaming at. Which other one is it? Is it the Don't Get Hacked?
Yeah.
So those are going to be your best bet, or Facebook, because we do get those messages, okay? And then we've got our tier 1 where you get to join us live, so you'll get a link to come into these lives. You'll get the member only live each month, the replay library of these monthly member meetings, and the private Discord back end, because we were looking at it, that's our best option right now, but that may change to not be Discord depending on how that rolls. And then we got tier 2. So this is when you need a little bit of hand holding, but you don't need us to literally be like poking you every day. Are you making your content? How is it going? You don't need us literally coaching you all the time. You're motivated, you're making your content, but you just want to literally have a production manager. That's really what we're doing. We're helping you in the back end. So if you have any tech issues, you're getting that one-on-one support. We're also helping you when you get on and live to make sure everything is good. We can do that check for you. So you're getting that little bit of extra support to go live so you don't have to do it yourself. And then of course our tier 3, our big that we've been promoting for the last couple of months, the visibility engine, where we're going to hold your hand and help you get your content up and going, and a process so it becomes part of your normal routine.
You can see my Zoom, right? I look fine because it's frozen
Yeah,
on my end. It's
I don't
frozen
know. You
weird.
just
I
have
don't know. This is why I'm not a big fan of Zoom.
to. Okay, do you see the next? Do I have my
I
image
see. I
open?
see the yeah. I see it now. It was just like I don't know. Maybe it's because I've got the Zoom to Restream connection going on my side. I don't know. It was like frozen for a while, but I could hear you. I just couldn't see anything on the screen.
Oh, well,
So
there you go.
interesting.
Good, good. So June 1st, join us for year 2. Get yourself set up, get the founder pricing, because as we've talked about, and I mentioned at the beginning, this astrology, all the things we're covering, the technology, the communication. This is the Uranus, because Mike doesn't like how I say Uranus. Uranus.
It's Uranus.
Uranus. I don't know. You want to wrestle about it, potato and potato? um, it is about communication, right? And how are we going to communicate? That is the trend. And this is about communicating. This is about getting your message out and knowing how to use the technology. All of those themes are not going away. We are in this for the next 7 years. So are you going to plant the seeds to make sure you're planting that tree to pay off, that you're going to have fruit to bear on that tree in the next coming years? That is the point. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years? This is about establishing a process that you're going to build. So getting that root system built so you can go forward and get that tree going. So in the long run, you're going to show up everywhere. You're going to be visible, and you're going to build the people that are going to want to hear your message, buy your products, learn from you. This is about getting out and being seen and heard and connecting with them. Mike?
No. Yeah. 100%.
I'm just going to add one thing as a student who's done it. There's been huge value. So anybody who's hearing this is really like, go do it. They help give you a lot of clear, clarity. Man, that's what I teach. A lot of clarity, but also a lot of support. I get messages from both Julianne and Mike. They are completely on board, and I really appreciate the efforts they've given me. And that's why now we just do the fine tuning, and it's you know,
Well, I think it's really it's like, as you said, clarity on questions and answers. I'm gonna get you an answer whether or not I have the answer today, because feedback's important, and also that we're not using, like, there is probably a ton of stuff on YouTube I don't know, on Restream I don't know, and constantly getting questions saying, how do I do this, how do I do this, how do I do this, is super valuable, because I'm like, hey, great, something new for me to learn, and each student's going to take that information and apply it differently, because I can see real growth with your confidence. because everyone uses tools differently. Everybody uses Restream differently. Everybody shows up just differently. But I can just see it because when I'm watching David, when I'm watching you or Jared or Tish or any of the other students, I'm like, you can just see that they're like, hey, I can tell people that you can watch me on TV because everybody's got YouTube built into their TV. And we had feedback from one of our students who runs I don't know if they're quite monthly retreats, but he's got like hours and he has all these people come onto his summits and he's like, Mike, I can show my parents that they can just turn on the TV and go to the YouTube channel and I'm on TV. Like this is incredible. I couldn't do that with Zoom before, but with Zoom going to YouTube, and I'm like, see, there, it's real impact because you're like the same amount of energy you're taking to um, already do your presentations or whatever you're engaging in. We're just hitting more, we're giving you the tools and the confidence to get on more screens.
And so it's
And
kind of funny. I have to say, just as a side note, about yesterday, me talking about we need our own channel. Oh, wait, we have a bunch of channels. We're
well,
on our own TV. We actually had that conversation from the
well,
random thing I was talking about yesterday.
it was super interesting because the lady, the TikTok lady I was talking to yesterday, she's like, I want to sit at my table and have lights, cameras, and she's like, there's so many people I can interview, but I hate doing it on the phone. And I'm like, precisely. Let us show you how to build your broadcast studio and then give you the confidence to empower other people in your community because if you're wanting to do this and you get trained on it, you can bring more people, you can impact more people in your circle and it's just, but if you don't know how to do it, like you're gonna go watch YouTube videos and just can be like, well, do I have the confidence? Do I have the ability to, without
And
having
and you,
that?
and in fairness, what you're pointing out, Mike, is like you can go learn all of this stuff. You can go spend hundreds of hours, thousands of dollars, do what we did over the last like
Oh
five,
yeah.
6 years. You totally can. Or come give yourself the heads give yourself a few steps of advancement so you don't have to spend all that extra time and just get to where you want to go and then we start fine tuning it, right? So you can skip all that extra wasted time because we've probably already tried it and had certain experiences, so we can help you do it the best way
Well,
we found and at least give you suggestions because
but
I guarantee almost everything you're going to want to try, we've done some variation of it at some point.
and when I started, I was told to not put it everywhere. It's like keep it in a silo, build your own channel, and just have people come to this place. And it's like that's the opposite of it, you know. Of course, you know, I had somebody say, make your own show, make your own show, make your own show, make your own show, which was good advice. But the bad advice was keep it in one place. I'm like, wait a minute, we should, if you're making a show to get the maximum ROI and impact and to reach the most amount of people, you got to have it everywheres because you don't know who's going to see it and it might take you months or years to grow all these audiences if you don't already have those footprints on social media. So,
And we're
um,
in the time, I'm just going to bring back astrology again, of getting those roots laid. What we're building now is for the roots for the long term. So it will pay off. You're going to be successful if you commit and continue going forward. And of course, like the first time you go live is not going to be perfect. Each time you go, you're going to learn, you're going to refine it, you're going to add new things to it, you're going to try different things. But if you're not doing it to begin with, you can't fine tune it, right? So we want to be your cheerleaders to get you online, get you visible so you can be making the content.
100%. So, looking forward to helping anyone jumping on June 1st with the new pricing tiers. And you have our contact information. You're in the Facebook group. Just reach out to us.
Go
It's
to the
on I
website
am YouTube. You can literally just go to IamYouTubeFamous.com because tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 is already there. And there's current pricing right now, which changes as of June 1st. So June 1st, everything goes up. So easy to get access to. It's easy to sign up. I'll put it
and
there.
get started and stop having excuses and get the help you need. Because if you're concerned about tech, We're going to help you. If you don't know where to go and you're not ready to spend thousands of hours researching, we're going to help you with that. We're going to help you make it.
We've already spent the time. I've already spent the money. I've spent the last 3 summers in New York being in front of cameras and microphones and writing scripts and reading scripts and all the fundamentals that help you with this whole process.
Oh, Mike, Lucretia said she signed up.
Yay! Thank you.
Yay! Woohoo! I wish, dude, I don't have like, can I go and put like party
You know what the
thing?
funny thing was? I was like, how do people run music? And then I was like, oh wait, they would have had they'd I'm like, I should have started off. I'm like, okay, I need to get fancier, but like passing music through. Because there's so many Zoom calls I've gone to where they're like, yeah, dance music and party music at the start before the call starts. But then you'd get flagged for a copyright violation on YouTube.
Well, that's a whole other one because next week, join us. We're going to talk about the newer app with YouTube, the YouTube Create app that's come up. And I'm starting to play around with it. I know Mike is. So
Okay,
we're going to dig a little bit into that.
precisely because YouTube's looking for content, and it's now so desperate over at YouTube. They're taking like photo collages, which is like, a reel or whatever on Instagram and Facebook. So you can literally grab a bunch of photos. We'll see if we can do a live demonstration because we're gonna have to share a phone screen. But you can literally YouTube Create app. You can up to 10 images, add your own music. That is a YouTube short now. Like it's crazy that YouTube is at the point where they're like, photo collage with music. That's good enough for a short. Just please give
That's
us
good enough for a
content.
video here, okay, guys? It's good enough for a video, right? So and that's the thing, is the eyes are going to YouTube. That is, they've got more views than Netflix and
And Netflix and
Disney.
Disney Plus combined, and we know that TikTok viewership's dying off, Snapchat's dying off. All the views are going to YouTube. You gotta show up on YouTube. Yeah, she
Perfect.
said she
Well,
downloaded it. Yeah, look, I just found out about the YouTube. I knew about the YouTube Create app, but they just posted this week that stuff's showing up on the YouTube Shorts feed. They just posted about it, so it's fresh, brand new. And Julie tried it.
I need to
Keep
do it better. I was just kind of, because it wants images, and I only had like two, and I kind of made one. So that's my goal today, is to play around with that later today as well.
But we'd
So
like to
that
thank you. We're like 20 minutes over, so thank you all for showing up this week. And we're excited to reach out if you got questions about, and just reach out, and we will, have a conversation with you about joining the visibility engine at whatever tier you feel comfortable with, because everybody moves at a different pace, but we want you to start making content and getting used to the tools, because that's really, once you're comfortable with the tools, then we can talk about, people's like, I don't know what to talk about when I go live streaming. I'm like, this is why having a script, even if you're not reading off the script, knowing time marks and like, hey, you're gonna go live for 30 minutes. What can you talk about for 10 minutes or 20 minutes? Because I'm sure when you start talking about something you're passionate about, the time you're
time
time
flies
goes by
by.
really
Oh my
quick.
gosh. I am working, I will just submit, because I am definitely not perfect. We are working on attempting to get my lives under an hour and a half. Like they easily go an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I would never ever have told you that I could go live and just talk for that long and feel like I was actually adding value for 2 hours. Okay. So it's an interesting thing on.
So we'll
Oh,
just
I guess that's our sign. We got to get off today.
have a good weekend. We'll see everybody next Saturday.
Yes. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.